And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I am touching base with you with my buddy Chris Edwards is in the building as he is every Thursday and Friday. What's going on?
Not bad. Good morning to you. How are you today?
Oh man, I'm exhausted. I have to tell you, I've been in a rut of I don't want to do anything, but I've been getting
Oh,
things done. But I've just been like I
it happens to
just
the best of us.
want to do nothing. I am probably in the laziest most mode of my this year. I think because I started with such a bang of the year and just getting so much done. And it's the first quarter has ended. And now we're moving into the second quarter for all those folks that are into the business world. We are into Q2, and I'm like, yo, what's going on? I feel so lazy.
I hear you. I hear you.
So what are you up to, mister?
Lots of editing still. I'm working on season 2 of these shows, um, and doing the promo stuff, but it's all good. I've got it. I think I've got a rhythm down now that I actually that works for me. So, but yeah, hence all the backgrounds you've been seeing a lot lately.
Yeah, you've been doing some interesting backgrounds. This is one of my
Yeah,
favorites. I love the purple, and today you are in relax mode. You are in relax mode.
yeah.
And I'm
Uh,
curious, there's no comments in the comment box. I mean, I think we're
we are
live. It
live.
says
I
we
think we're
are
live.
live.
Let
And
me make sure that people are there.
there's
Um,
just you and I. Where's everybody today? Maybe they didn't send it. Maybe they didn't send that we're on.
well, listen, we
Hey,
know
we're
there's
gonna
going to
just
be a replay of this at
yeah.
4. So, wait, there's Lisa. There's Lisa.
Lisa's the first person in the building. Ding 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 ding.
Let's just keep rolling like we got a huge crowd in
There
here.
you go. We got the big crowd. Lisa is our audience. There's
Oh,
Kelly.
there's Kelly.
They must have sent out the notice out late. So but anyway, so there's so much in the news. For those that don't know, today is our Trend Watch Thursdays, and that's when we talk about current events, things that are happening, things that are trending in the news, trending in what's going on in our society, in the world. And the one thing I want to get off my chest is, um, and this it is probably going to go into a long. We're truly going to dive into something when I mention this. Is that there is truly? I was watching. Sorry, let me just go back. I was watching the live broadcast home. I'm going to call it hometown conversation in Tennessee regarding the HBCUs. Tennessee College. Was it? And it was. I had this conversation with several people this week, and if you don't think the powers that be, and this is not the government, this is not, please, this is not the United States government, this is not some conspiracy theory, but there is a portion of our society, and they're not large, believe it or not, they are not a large contingent of our society. They are a minority, and they're really a minority of the minority, but they are causing havoc and trying to cause havoc among people of color. It is
Yeah,
a all-out assault to destroy colleges, SBCUs, delete DEI, to the whole thing with woke. It means really black. DEI also is a code word for black.
affirmative
And
action.
yeah, I mean, and there's a real in Project 2025, there's a clause to go totally after affirmative and not affirmative action, the civil rights, everything that was passed during Martin Luther King and the movement of civil rights, which I also want to take a moment to. Today is April 4th. This is the day that Martin Luther King was shot. in Memphis, Tennessee. Shots ringed out. You know, like the U2 song says, shots ringed out in the Memphis sky, and Martin Luther King was assassinated on this date, and a lot has been accomplished. Don't get us wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong. We can see a lot of accomplishments that have happened. When Martin Luther King on April 3rd did had a dream, I'm sorry, his speech to the congregation, and talking about, you know, I may not see the other side, I may not get there, I may not get to the promised land, but a lot has happened because of that civil rights movement, because all the people in that generation that weren't afraid to be prosecuted, persecuted, hurt, harmed, killed, so that we could have civil rights. We could have the civil rights that we have. We can have the freedoms that we have. We've seen in our lifetime. It literally, think about it, in my lifetime, I was born really at the cusp of the Martin Luther King movement and Malcolm X and all the leaders of that time. In my lifetime, we've seen Black people elevated. Shirley Chisholm, Barack Obama. We got the first Vice President, Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of progress on so many levels. However, the last 5 years, the last 7 years, we've reached up what's called the plateau. Like it's been accelerating, going up, a couple of pitfalls, but it's up and going up and going up. Now we're flatlining because there's a minority in the country that wants to now reverse it.
So let me interrupt real quick.
Mhm.
I think that's actually been even a little bit longer than that. You know when that plateau started? When Barack Obama was nominated, when he was elected president, that's when it
True.
plateaued, because that is when people said, oh wait, no, we can't have this here in America. And then the fact that he was reelected and served 2 full terms, it went into high gear. Never again can we ever let this happen. That's exactly where this whole thing started.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was the rise of Trump.
That was the rise of the Tea Party.
Yeah.
That was the rise of the Tea Party and Trump.
When have you ever had anyone who was an elected official president being questioned if he was an American citizen? That is one of the foundational requirements to become president. He was president for 8 years, and you're questioning if he's an American citizen? He passed the smell test from Jump Street.
But it's one of those things, and when I'm looking at, if you go, obviously I dig in these rabbit holes, and so like I said, I didn't know what was happening with Tennessee, in Tennessee with the HSBC. I'm getting all mixed up there. Let me just put it. Let me go to my notes here, because that's what I wanted to put in there. But did I put it in there? Yeah, the attack on HBCUs. My brain gets scrambled up when I do here. I'm seeing acronyms in my head. It's the dyslexia, and then my dyslexia starts scrambling up literally as I'm seeing them. So, guys, if you know anyone with dyslexia, you or if you do have dyslexia, you know exactly what I mean. So, but it is. Yeah, I mean, they're going after, and it's not just the Tennessee College, it's really every HBCU trying to reduce funding, trying to take away their money, trying to impose different rules, change the rules. It's happening all over the country, and we have to be more aware. And yeah, so this today, I just wanted to make sure that we are in remembering Martin Luther King, in the spirit of Martin Luther King assassination. He died for a cause. He died for us to have the freedoms that we have today. He and others, not just him, but today, obviously, we recognize, um, and our prayers and our thoughts go out to the King family. His son put out a statement, that he was a civil rights leader to everyone, but he was dad to him, and he wished his daughter could have met her grandfather. So today's is a somber day in Black history, which is American history. But it is definitely something to be thinking about. And we have to, Elise says, we need to fully wake up. And we really do. Y- Gwendolyn and I, and a couple of my friends this week, we were talking about why isn't the Black community or the people of color, Asian, Black, Spanish, Indian, I should say Native American population, why isn't there an outcry? Why isn't there like people in the streets like saying, "Uh, we see what you folks are doing. We see what you folks are doing as eliminating everything. Everything that the civil rights stood for is being erased."
Here's People aren't paying attention to it because it isn't directly happening to them at this very moment. The moment that it happens to them, then they'll scream bloody murder. But here's the thing: by that point, it's too late.
It's
It
too
is too
late.
late, and that's what people are not realizing. You have to take action and precautions and steps now to prevent that from happening. I think people are just so consumed with their own personal lives and their social media and not worrying about what's actually going on. I mean, like you said, there's just so much in the news that's going on right now. And, people say, oh, I don't like watching the news or listening to the news or reading the news because it's so depressing. But guess what? What's more depressing is the fact that you guys are not paying attention. And when you do pay attention, eventually, it will be too late.
Yeah. It's and again, I believe everyone that has a platform is obligated to bringing awareness of what's going on in the world. I mean, there's a whole lot of headlines for we news geeks out here. It's sometimes like there's literally days I had to like say, okay, enough is enough. Cut the TV off, cut the radio off, and just kind of like take in a movie. But it's okay to take moments of rest from the news, but don't do away with the news. It is so important to keep yourself in the loop of what's going on. It's so much going on. So, while there's news going on in this area, like all the Trump craziness, all the Trump craziness,
Because there's a
then you
lot of
have
it.
on the other side the Steve Millers. The Steve Millers. I want if you guys could you write down on your paper? Could you write down on a spare piece of paper? Google what Steve Miller is doing. Steve Miller was served in the Trump administration, and one of the pillars of the Project 2025 movement, and what their intentions are for this country. And here's something that's in the news that's big this week. Um, I'm going through these headlines really quick. But this new thing called the anti-racism protections for white people. You're like, is this the up down side cake? Are we living in a world of bizarro?
Yeah. This is bizarre world.
It's the world of bizarro. It's this new movement, and it's big, and Steve Miller is one of the pillars of this movement. If you go into Google, there's one here. I did put it here for you guys. Stephen Miller's law group says is fighting racism against white people. It's a great article. Or if you just put in CNN and put this headline in, It will give you a good what's happening with the farmers, what's happening with schooling, what's happening with legislation, the civil rights laws. They're trying to reverse all of it. All of it. Yeah. Elise says we
Here's
are there,
another
Ron.
here's another one that's kind of associated with that, and it has to do also with what happened over the weekend, where people were complaining about the fact that Trans Day of Visibility landed on the same day as Easter. Trump has called for a Christian Day of Visibility on
Oh,
Election Day.
you can't make this stuff
No, you
up.
can't.
It's like if someone literally, if this was, let's say 10 years ago, before let's go 15 years ago, and someone says they were they're gonna write a movie with these characters in it and this situation, it wouldn't be believable. People
No.
just 15 years ago, it would have been like, are you kidding me? No one's gonna
What
believe
is it?
that.
All these people would have been laughed out of DC, laughed out of their local governments, and this would never ever happen. And now it is so normal that people don't even pay attention to it. They brush up. Oh, they're just talking. They're just talking until they make it a reality. Then you complain, oh, you took away my rights. I
Yeah,
mean, and here's the thing. I hate to say this, but I blame the Democrats because all these things that are happening, they could have prevented it and stopped it years before. Roe versus Wade was a perfect example. They had every opportunity to make it the law of the land by
yep,
passing a bill, and they never did. And now they're saying, oh, well, we should have done this. It's too late. Look at the havoc that has been wreaked across this country. And all the rights that people like myself from the LGBTQI plus community and minorities in general, all the things that people have worked so hard for, in one fell swoop can go away.
can go away.
And then what are
And
you
there's
going
a
to do?
list. There's a target list to go after every one of these things. Uh, the only thing that's being protected here, if there's protection, are white men.
Yeah.
Because they're going after white women too. I always say, the whole thing is if they go for, whenever they go for the least in the population, they keep going up the food chain. They don't stop. They don't. When you think they're going after, oh, it's just the Mexicans. It's just those black people. Oh, it's just the Puerto Ricans. Oh, it's just this. Oh, it's just that. When they come for one, they're going to come for all. It's just, and when you listen to the Steve Millers of the world, I'm going to be saying his name a lot. The reason why is because
He's
he is like,
dangerous. He
he is
is
as he
dangerous.
is dangerous.
Listen, for those that don't know Stephen Miller, all I'm going to say is kids in cages. That is his policy. Okay. He was the one that implemented it and ran that thing. So if you don't know who he is, yes, you do. He's the one that put young children, Mexican children, in cages and separated them from their parents. And some of these kids have never been reunited with their families.
Mm. Not only that, he also is responsible for the new policy that Trump wants to do on day one. The biggest exodus, or I should say, deportation, the new deportation mindset of, in American history. He's behind a lot of this stuff. You don't think Trump is this smart. Trump is not
He's
smart.
not.
Trump is an idiot. He has surrounded himself with these people that are feeding him all of this crap. He's not intelligent. He's a strong man. He's just a
He's not even
spokesperson.
that.
I mean, well, he appears to be the
He's,
strong
he's
man.
just he is just the figurehead.
Yeah, he's the
They
figurehead of the
propped him up.
crazies. I mean, like there's a whole investigation about Giuliani, and how the whole idea of saying, when Trump goes out into the audience and says, frankly, we did win this election. That came from Giuliani. He he already knew he had lost, but it was Giuliani that pushed that idea in his head. So again, these people are in numbers. I mean, they're not the majority. All white people are not trying to kill all black people and all people, because that doesn't exist. These are a small minority with a large bullhorn. And now they're really using religion. I mean, you think about Trump literally, this whole scheme of the Bible, and also them going after Biden on Sunday, for Easter Sunday, for the was it
Day of
trans
visibility.
visibility day. Yeah, they're using this to hopefully build this Christian white nationalist movement. It's Christian white nationalist movement that has nothing to do with Christianity, of
So
those who love Christ.
you bring that up for those that follow MSNBC and watch Alex Wagner. She had a great episode last night talking about just that. There are, I forget where in the country it is, somewhere in the Midwest, where they have there's this religious group that is asking parents to volunteer to take their kids out of school during the day to go to their program that teaches religion, Bible study, this and that. And I mean, it's being able to skirt the laws, because church and state are not supposed to mix when it comes to school, especially by making a voluntary thing. So you're having a lot of these parents who are devout Christians that are taking their kids out of school during the middle of the day to send them to these places where they can, quote unquote, they read the scripture, and they're being indoctrinated, basically. So be very careful. Like, it might start one place, but it will spread. It's going to spread.
Well,
And
they're saying, and not to break your train of thought, that they're using this Tennessee situation that's going on as a blueprint. The Republicans and conservative movement, which is the Heritage Foundation, and all these people that are associated with that, they always use one case and as a blueprint to do it across their
they want to
states.
see that it can work.
They want to see how far they can go, how far they can get away with it, what they can do. Then they use a blueprint of it, and then they manufacture it for the rest of the red states.
Yep.
And so they're saying that they're watching this case in Tennessee with the getting rid of the board and changing the board and restructuring and all that stuff. So that way it was interesting that they were saying that a lot of folks have been eyeing, because their campus is in the middle of the city, so it's prime real estate. So there's other colleges that want to take this college and absorb it because it's in the center of the city. Yes, I mean, if you haven't had an opportunity, check out Roland Martin's town hall from last night regarding that subject. I mean, I learned so much information. I wanted to write it all down, but it was just too much. It was too much to write down. I didn't want to dedicate the whole show to that, but I definitely want you to take a look at it. Roland Martin's town hall in Tennessee, and HBCUs. Anyway, just moving right along. I see some great information in here that you guys are throwing in here. Elise says it's Stephen Miller and Ed Bloom. Yeah, those are two names you want to look up. Those are names that you want to throw in the Google machine and look up. Those are very important names to this movement. Thank you, Elise, for that. Yep. This is what they're doing. It's the blueprint. She said they are coming after all of the HBCUs. Absolutely.
Anything minority related, they're coming for it.
Look,
Anything minority related.
DEI. DEI. They don't want diversity. They don't want equity or equality. And they don't want you
Inclusion.
to include others, which is crazy. Think how crazy that idea is, that you don't want to include others.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You say it's crazy. It's not to them. This has like been their philosophy. They've been quietly saying these things, believing these things, and honing in on them for decades. This has been going on for decades. It's just that now Trump has given them permission to say it out loud. And I mean, I think the start of it during Trump's era was these neo-Nazis in Charlottesville walking the streets. You know what I mean? Like that was the catalyst. I think that really just kind of set everything else. It was like they got away with it. Nothing ever happened to them.
No.
And they figured, oh my God, well, we can do this in modern day America. We're gonna go with this. Yeah, this works. And it's just been a firestorm. Like every time you turn around, they're taking away some type of right. They're going after this group of people. They are like calling people names and they're normalizing it. It's gotten to a point now where it's so normal. People don't pay attention. They hear it. They don't pay attention to it. Now, mind you, don't come after their TikTok though, because everyone's going to go and call their Congress people. Like I'm still dumbfounded by that. You know, Congress said that they want to ban TikTok. Everybody and their mother went crazy, started calling Congress people, never dealt anything with politics, don't even know who their politicians were. They figured it out. They called them and said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But yet still they're trying to take away your rights for other things. It's like, oh, well, I'm not really paying attention. It has nothing to do with me. But TikTok, for real people, this is where you have laid your sword down on?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I tell you, my friends.
Before you make that thought, if they take away all your other rights, you won't even have TikTok. So what the hell does it even matter?
It won't matter. If you have no rights, if you're living under a dictatorship, if you're living under autocracy, it doesn't matter what you do with your TikTok. You still eventually are going to lose it. But isn't that amazing that Chris, you bring up something really, I mean, this is our round table. We're just talking. This is our Thursday just to talk about what's going on in the world. It is interesting to me. I mean, think about that. They are erasing the civil rights. They've been doing it since Obama. The Supreme Court, you know, corporations are people too. All of the things that have been happening in society, erasing, taking rights away. No uproar.
Nope, not one.
When you think about the irony of the thought is no uproar about, I mean, there's some folks are out there.
No
I mean, there's some folks out there. However, you would think as there are more people of color that are going to be impacted by these decisions. And you would think, and not only people of color, and like I'll always associate the two, white women. White women are being attacked. People of color are being attacked, taking their rights away. But yet, TikTok, I mean, literally, people lost their minds.
Yeah.
They lost their minds for an app. Now, I get it. App is I mean, I get the connection. A lot of businesses do use TikTok as part of their business model. But we have to be just as fervent about our rights, the Constitution, our freedoms. I still don't know who these people are. That when they ask people, who are you voting for? Like, I still can't believe that Trump is leading in most of the toss-up states. Who are these people? Why aren't we making enough noise? Anyway, Chris, what says you? Also, if anyone wants to pop on, you're more than welcome to. I know there's some of you, like Elise and a couple of folks out there. If you guys want to pop on, you're more than welcome to. We will share the platform with you.
Yeah.
So, because it's more than just our thoughts.
Some other things in the news. Jack Smith, special counsel who is trying Trump, is going after the judge now in the case because she is slow walking this entire trial. There are so many motions that's sitting on her desk that don't need in-person arguments. She can just simply just say, yes or no to them, and she's just stockpiling them. She's delaying this case, and he's basically setting up that where, he's going to have to appeal or try to get her off the case altogether. And it's very risky, but he feels as though he has to do it. And the other judge in the Stormy Daniels case that's going to start in, I think, another week and a half. Basically, he's the only judge really to stand up now, shutting Trump down at every turn. They made some arguments yesterday to throw the case out for presidential immunity. He was like, nope, you could have actually made those challenges months ago. You waited to the last minute. He said, nope, you can't do it. So that trial is going forward. It's going to start, I believe, jury
15th.
selection starts on the
April
12th.
15th. Oh, April 15th. Yep.
Okay.
Tax day.
Yeah. So, they're pushing forward these cases. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you have an ex-president who's criminally charged with felonies, and you want to elect him as president. Yo, this country has fallen bad.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about that, people are interested only in the crazy. And
if you're a regular felon, or even just not even convicted, but just accused and supposing to stand trial for something, it's so hard for people to get jobs. They tend to lose everything. And if you're ever convicted of anything, it's so hard to find work. So this man can be convicted. Granted, there's appeals process, whatever, but he can still actually win the presidency. There's no laws in the books that says he cannot be president while in prison.
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
I'm looking at this movie called, what is it called? Gosh, it is Manhunt. I think it's on Apple TV. And it's the search for Booth, who killed, he killed Lincoln, and he's on the run, he's on the move, and they're showing this whole case of how they're trying to hunt him down, and then all the people that were involved in the killing of Lincoln, and it brings up all these different scenarios of what's happening. And so me, I always tell folks when I'm looking at historical programs like this, I usually take out the Google machine and I'm putting in the town and the person that they're talking about, or the person that's the characters that are in the documentary story. And it is fascinating. But one thing America has never been able to do right is prosecute the, what do we call it? What do we want to call it? They have not been able to go after the things that really matter. For instance, what I mean by that, I'm not saying it properly. For instance, after the Civil War, Lincoln was excited to be instating, going with Frederick Douglass and a couple of other folks that were in his party, his cabinet, to institute what's called Reconstruction, which they were really focusing, creating a society of equality. However, America always sees the grandiose things of what we could do, but they don't have the guts to deal with the thing that is causing the harm. We're one of the only countries in the world that had a civil war where hundreds of thousands of brothers and sisters, brothers fighting against brother, cousins fighting against cousins, North against the South, South against the North, hundreds of thousands of people dying to change the South from slavery, to end slavery, to end it, to abolish it. And the South was like, you are not changing our way of life. And we are willing to die for it. We're willing to die to have our slaves. We're going to kill for our slaves. You are impeding upon our economic growth and potential by taking our free labor. Right? This is one of the only countries in the world. I may be wrong. Someone you can fact check me. Where the losers are a part of writing the history. One of the only places where the loser is writing the history.
They
Or
dictate the narrative.
the losers are dictating what's going on. The losers. It's like Lincoln's like, he's conflicted. He's like, we want to do this. We want to create this equality society, but we want to also, we got to make them happy. We already burned some of their property, their land, but we need to hand them some dollars. We need to give them some money. I have a hard brain. My brain won't say the word properly. And they hand them money. The loser gets money. The loser gets money. They're the reason why hundreds of thousands of men and women are in the ground, dead. And yet America was totally trying to figure out how we can appease these people, how to keep them, happy. America has never been, in all of our greatness, in all of our successes, but we always had to be hit in the head a couple of times to get to the real root of the problem. Trump is a problem. We have people in this country that are like, well, we can't put this man in jail if he goes after the judges. In any other place, in any other country, in any other democracy, any other person in this democracy would go to jail for threatening a judge's daughter.
So here's something else that I want to talk about, because it's along these same lines. And this is something that a lot of cable talk shows and news channels are actually picking up on, and mainstream media isn't doing it yet. But, Trump is bullying all of these other, especially congressmen, and they don't have the mental and physical fortitude to stand up to him and say, you know what? No, this is not your party. This is the Republican Party. So instead of doing that, what they're doing is just walking away. They're either, not deciding not to run again for Congress, or they're retiring, or they're just like leaving Congress because they don't want to deal with it. And then what they're doing is all of the quote unquote sane Republicans who are willing to negotiate and to talk and to do business as it has always been done are just walking away. And what they're walking away and leaving behind are the Trump fanatics, the crazies like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that whole faction of people. And what that's doing is one, discouraging um, people to actually run up against them because they don't have to deal with that. Like, it's one thing to have to compete to go up against another political party who does not believe in your views, but then to actually have to fight in your own party because your views radically are different than what was commonly known as the Republican Party. You
Yeah.
know, yes,
And
Dr.
they're
Tashi
leaving by the
Powers,
droves.
all of them.
They're leaving by the droves instead of doing the right thing and standing their ground against these fools that have infiltrated the Republican Party. And again, it's almost like, why do we even still call it the Republican Party?
It's not. It's the
It's the
Republican. I
party
mean,
of Trump.
it's the Trump. Yeah,
It's the Trump cult.
Trumpism.
And but the thing is that this is one of the only countries that, again, there's all of these wonderful laws we have on the books, but why can't we enforce them with this idiot? It's just, and the rest of the world says, what is going on in this country? Like, how is it possible that this man who's a criminal on
And
all
everyone knows it.
levels,
And everyone sees it.
and everyone sees it, and he still is not jailed? No, I mean, this man should be in jail. All of the words against the judges and the DA, and there's no other democracy would even accept this.
Well, look at Mitch McConnell. They did an interview with him over the weekend on some local back home where he's from, and they asked him about have you spoken to Trump and this and that, and they completely sidestep the conversation. They don't even want to talk about him to the point where you have the leader of the Republican Party in Congress who has to step away because he knows he can't say anything negative about Trump. Mitch McConnell does not like Trump. He does not want anything he does not want to be associated with Trump, but yet still he won't stand up to them. Instead, he would rather cower and walk away.
Yeah, they all have.
What they don't realize, history is going to look upon them very negatively and harshly. The history books, if they even have history books after November, they're going to look at all these Republicans as cowards. They cower to a man who is weak, who is pathetic, And I mean, you need more people like a Liz Cheney. I don't agree with her politics, but at least I can agree with the fact that, hey, she stood her ground and what she believes and what the party's supposed to believe in. It's either the people cower down or they kick them out. They find a way to get them out, or they censure them.
Yeah, Elise says they may not like him, but they are doing his bidding.
Yeah.
This all could have been solved if they simply would have impeached him.
Yes. Because then he wouldn't have been able to run for president.
He would not
again.
have been able to run. This would have been all solved. But because they were cowards, because McConnell and all of those people were just cowards. History is not going to look at them well. And if we lose our democracy, it will begin at McConnell's feet.
Yeah.
That they did not go after this guy. They did not know how to control their own party. They did not know how to restrain the crazies.
But listen, with McConnell, it started before Trump. It happened when they did not allow Obama to appoint a Supreme Court judge he was duly entitled to. That's when all of this started.
Yeah.
The plan was set in place back then.
Man, this is I love these
Think about
conversations.
it. All these things are all weaved together. They don't happen in a vacuum. They don't happen in these separate little things spread out.
Silos.
They're all connected. They are all connected. And when people sit down and really look at this, you say, "Oh my God, they've been doing this for years, for decades."
Yeah.
And people are telling you, but no one is listening. No one, the people that matter, no one is listening.
Yeah. It's kind of it's crazy that we are where we are in this country, but again, America has not done it right, has not been able to do the right thing. It's like Churchill said, for Americans. This is his view on Americans. Churchill, the Prime Minister of Great Britain during the 40s, he says, America will do the right thing after they've exhausted every wrong thing.
That sounds about right.
America will eventually do the right thing after they exhausted every other bad thing. And I'm paraphrasing it. But that's how the world sees us. We will
And they're not
eventually get it
wrong.
right. That's not the problem. We will eventually get it right. But
But
at the
why go through all this
cost of
pain?
so many.
Why go through so much pain when you know what the
Yes.
answer already is? It's like a small child when you tell them don't do that thing and they continue to do it and they get burnt. And then you have to sit there like, but I've explained to you and I've told you don't do this.
Yeah.
We have to, as my parents and my grandparents used to say, you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. Remember back when we were growing up, a hard head makes a sore behind.
Yes. Or those that don't listen must feel. That's one I used to get all the time.
That's right. You're gonna feel. If you don't hear, you'll feel.
Yeah. And we're feeling this, and this is just the beginning of feeling. If we don't stop, the pain will be so much worse.
Yeah. If we could just, but again, when I look at the Civil War, as I'm looking at this manhunt on Apple TV, and you look back and you listen to some of the rhetoric and the what's going on in the 1800s, and you're saying, wow, some things just never change. There's something about this Confederate Nazi spirit or mindset. It keeps coming back with every generation. It keeps coming back. It leaves the stage for a moment, but it always keeps returning. And these are the daughters and the sons of the Confederacy, and the daughters and the sons of the Nazis, and the daughters and sons of the fascists. They never go away. Some of them die out, but their spirit, their mindset continues on through history.
And it's all taught. It's all taught. It's 12:04, so we've got about another 5 minutes or so.
5 minutes, yeah. Anthony says, sometimes you gotta let them step in poop so they know it stinks.
Sorry, I don't like stepping in poop. If I see it, I walk around it. So
I love it. Anthony, awesome. Elise says, we have to decide what we want to focus on and be committed, unified, and consistent.
yes.
We definitely do. This is true. This country is and we are too weak to hold them accountable. The bad guys. Yeah. And Paro says Churchill was onto something. Yes, he was. He knew Americans. He knew American history. Churchill was a very smart man. For those that have never had the opportunity to study Churchill, he led very well. I mean, obviously every leader has their controversies, but he definitely has a lot of wisdom. I think they got that. I think got everybody's little comments here. Exactly who they are. Anthony, sometimes And Paul says, Anthony, Roland, or sometimes we sit and poop so long it no longer stinks. Republican Party. Ooh, Amparo.
It's so true.
Sometimes you sit and
You get
poop so
accustomed to the
long.
stench.
Yeah. Now
That's a perfect analogy because that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're sitting in that
sitting in poop.
And it doesn't bother them anymore.
Sitting in poop.
They'll complain to people in private. Oh, I don't like this. This stinks or whatever. But you know what? To stay faced, because what it all boils down to is these people want power.
They want power.
Total power corrupts.
Absolutely.
They don't want to let go. And
yes, it does.
In order to not let go, they go along.
Well, guys, this was we're back to the old tradition of just sharing what's going on in the world. We just have these conversations. You're more than welcome to chime in. I love that you guys chime in the comment box, and hopefully we also pop them up here on the screen. And Elise says it's about power and control. I just want to make sure I get that up there. But this is where we are. But we have to be smart as a country. We have to be as outraged about what's going on, about our rights, about democracy, as we are about TikTok.
Sorry.
As we are about TikTok as a country. And so let's really again, let's encourage. And again, Elise always listens. Every time I see Elise in here, just her presence reminds me to say, if you don't know what Project 2025 is, what should you be doing in this community? What we all talk about? Read it.
Research.
I am happy that a lot of people like Joy Reid and Ali on MSNBC, some of these folks are now taking hold of really getting into Project 2025, because it is deadly to democracy. And if you think things are bad now, or just a mention, and look at the time, and Black folks, I'm saying this to Black folks. I'm saying this specifically to Black folks. Get your heads out of the sand. The ones that choose to hide their heads in the sand, get your head out of the sand and know what's going on. Because, guys, last I checked, when things go sideways, as they used to say, Grandma used to say, when the S hits the fan.
When the poop hits the fan.
Black folks, we gonna feel it
first.
So we're gonna feel it. And when they reverse civil rights, we're gonna feel it. They're already doing it now. Guys, we have to wake up. We have to get our heads out of the sand.
Yes.
And we have to start reading this stuff. Not only reading like Project 2025. The audacity that they put it out there in a manual so that you could read it.
A manual.
And that they are recruiting right now.
Nothing is being done in the shade anymore. It's all out in the sunlight.
They don't even care to hide it. They got it out in the sunlight. Guys, we have to be proactive, and we have to get out there. In the honor of Martin Luther King, who died on this date, if he could take the bullet for us, we can surely learn what's going on that's going to affect us. Does that make sense? If all of these great men and women took the bullet, took the tree, took the rope, took the knife, took the slaps for us, we can surely take some time to read Project 2025 and get involved in ways to preserve our democracy, and get in the books and get into some organizations or use our platforms to keep reminding the community, the American community, the community of democracy, that we have to fight for this democracy. Yes, Jamel Shabazz says there is a new movie coming out called Civil War. Baby, that's some movie. But guess what? It ain't far-fetched. When you see this movie, it takes place in the future, just a little bit in the future. It's called Civil War. It is coming out next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. Hollywood is even telling you what's getting ready to happen. They always do. Remember when there was a far-fetched of a black president, and then they start putting black presidents in movies, and then what happened? We got a black president. I'm just saying, I'm not into conspiracies, but I'm telling you, get involved. Learn what's going on. Anyway, it is that time. It's 12:12. Guys, thank you, Jamel, for that. Yeah, look up Civil War. Look at the trailer. You'll like that. It's going to be interesting to learn. Tomorrow is our Focus Friday. We have some interesting accounts that we're going to share, and we're going to accounts that bless us, encourage us, and inspire us. And Jamel says it's subliminal seduction. That's right. They're planting. Okay, it is.
I got three things real quick.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Great show yesterday. Oh, sorry. Great show you had yesterday. Great interview. I watched the first half in the morning and the second half in the evening. For those that didn't get a chance to watch my show last night, Take Two, I had a great guest, Dwayne Queen. He's an amazing and phenomenal person. So go watch that episode. And then also tomorrow night, I've got Safe Space with Alec Maslin from Meet the Maslin. So definitely check that out at 8 p.m. tomorrow night.
And also, just so you know, just to get you guys make sure that you check out Indie Soup Media. That's when this repeat will be on at 4 o'clock today, and then 6 o'clock tomorrow for tomorrow's show. But it'll be 4 o'clock this evening, you Eastern time. You will be able to catch the replay of this show. And if you happen to see us and you're here for the first time, make sure you subscribe and like. And we are out of here. See you later.